Today I'm meeting Gerald Glode in Point Pleasant Park in Chebucto, which is also known as Halifax Harbor, Nova Scotia. Well, Gerald, thanks for meeting me here.
Well, thank you very much for the invite.
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I work for the Mi'kmaq Cultural Center, and I'm a program development officer who's in charge of research and education development for the school curriculum here in Nova Scotia. What we're trying to do is get the Mi'kmaq culture and heritage part out of the history books and back into some of the other topics.
Well, what a better place to get some Mi'kmaq history out than here in Point Pleasant Park. Why we're meeting here is that I feel like this is a very significant, important, key connection to Mi'kmaq people, but also the spirit world, which is our ancestors.
We're sitting here in a very, very sacred traditional territory in Chebucto here, the Great Harbor.
So maybe tell me a little about this spot right here.
Oh, definitely a gathering place for our ancestors for generations. The people that lived here, like I said, have been connected to this land for generations, the families, the clans that come from here. It's a very, very special place for our Mi'kmaq people. Buktuk, the Great Harbor.
So this was the gathering spot?
Yes, very much
Okay,
so.
let's go over here.
It's like the gathering place or the Great Fire. 7 districts in all of Mi'kmaq, and they would definitely come here through the Grand Council, would come and meet here in this area. Like we're talking about the Council Fire, where the Grand Council met with all the chief and councils, deciding what is going to be done, where people were going to live, where they're going to move, where they're going to harvest material.
How many Mi'kmaq people would have lived in this area particularly, like around this harbor?
Hundreds of people, but during Grand Council meetings, you're talking about populations of thousands.
Do you know if any gatherings have been or have taken place here since, colonization?
No. I was going to say that after the French and English started battling over this area, we got displaced to other parts of the province.
There's a Mi'kmaq word for the meeting place in spirits too, right?
Yeah, Amundagadi.
Yeah.
Amundagadi is basically spirit place or the place of the spirits.
So could you tell me about the geology of the area?
Well, down here in the southern part of Nova Scotia, it's basically just solid bedrock and very, very little topsoil.
Well, I find with sacred sites, not just here in Nova Scotia and where we currently are, but across the world, where there's a lot of spirit activity, we're actually closer to bedrock. Our ancestors would have met here, the 7 districts of the people that met here, but this is also a meeting place for the spirits. But I do feel a tremendous amount of spirit here in different layers of time. But I know our Mi'kmaq ancestors are in these woods, they're in the forests, they're in these trees, they're on these grounds, they walk this earth with us. And I feel like the remains of our ancestors are somewhere amongst the trees and the forests and the woods here because I can feel their spirits walk here. And that's why they knew it was a gathering place, like for spirits. Including our ancestors is a massive part of all of our cultural gatherings, our cultural practices.
And it still is. They talk about the population of the Mi'kmaq people being the population of all of them that are living today, as well as all of our ancestors. They're still part of us here.
I feel this is a sacred space. The history here and look in connection to the Mi'kmaq people and our Grand Council, but also to our ancestors. And what I feel when I walk into a space like that is that intertwining of history, time, and spirit all coming together. I love to see that our ancestors in spirit and the people that are living in the council today gather once again and bring back our culture to this location.